Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Bum 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 boom 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 boom. Itai. All right. With the help of Hashem, we are learning Shabbos Kuf Chaf. We're going to be finishing the sugya of Lecharva Yerushalayim Ella, and we will be learning the final Lecharva, that it was because there was a lack of Midas Ha'emes, as we'll learn. We're going to, God willing, start a new Mishnah that lists more items that are allowed to be saved from a fire. We're going to be having a Gavaldik case where Chazal made Gzeira because they were concerned of something. And then there's going to be a question in the Gemara whether that Gzeira applies to another case. Now that case was not the case of the Gzeira, but the concern is the same. So how limited are we when we connect one case to another? Are we looking at the cause for the concern, and therefore it should be applicable to other cases? Or do we limit the Gezeiras by saying Chazal made a Gezeira in case A, case B is not like case A, and therefore the Gezeira will not apply? This is a very fundamental question, as we'll explain when we learn the Sugya, God willing. We're going to be introducing the concept of Schar Shabbos. That means if someone gets paid, not on Shabbos, if someone gets paid for work that they did on Shabbos, there's a problem with that. And as we'll explain when we learn the DAF, what do we do nowadays? Some people do have, let's say, house help on Shabbos. There are people that work in shul on Shabbos, and they get paid for that work. But there is an issue known as Schar Shabbos, how to circumvent that. We're going to have a Gavaldik, a new definition of a chassid. We're going to be learning regarding wearing garments, saving them from a fire. So Sabrenta fire, how many garments can you put on to leave the house when we're speaking about a scenario that you may not carry them out normally? Can you wear two garments that are basically serving the same function? There's really a machloikas tanoim. We're going to be learning another sugya of how to contain a fire. Now, obviously, putting out fires in isun midoiraisa. But can I do an action that will later cause for the fire to go out? This is called gram kibui. And again, this is going to lead us into a machloikas tanoim. There's going to be different levels of gram kibui's indirect extinguishing. We're going to have another very fundamental machloikas on Daf Kuf Chav. How do you define psik reisha? Now, generally, we all know psik reisha means if you're doing one action, and it will for sure cause for something to happen, like a person wants for his child to have a toy, and it was the minig then that they would give the head of a chicken as a toy for a child to play with. So the question is, can you cut it off on Shabbos? Shimon says, is mamish muter, so you would argue you can do it. Your intention is for your child to have a toy thing. Your intention is not to do an act of shchita. Your intention is not to do an act of natilas neshama. Yet, right, that you're going to be chayiv. So there, in the case of cutting off the head of the chicken will 100% die when you cut the head off. We're going to learn another case where you're doing one action that will 99% cause something else to happen. Do you still apply the concept of psik reisha, even though it's very, very highly likely that it will have that effect? Or can you argue, if it's not mamish 100%, it's no longer psik reisha, and therefore when it's a davar she'emes chavin, it's going to remain permitted. We're going to have that a machloikas between a Tana and Rav, which in this case will be Rav Tana Upalik. We're going to go into some cases of where God's holy name is written on one's body. And the question is whether you can go to the mikveh. You want to go to the mikveh to become pure, but going to the mikveh will cause the name to get erased. That's also as a gram erasing. And that's going to lead us into a little bit of a review on Hilchos Chatzitza, Midoiraisa. The Chatzitza is something that's covering the majority of your body or of your hair, and it bothers you that it's there. It's called Roiv Umakbid. If it's only one or the other, it's already not considered the Chatzitza Midoiraisa. But yes, it is considered the Chatzitza Midrabanan. And then if it not covers the majority of your body or not the majority of the place of your hair, and you're not makbid, then even midrabanan, it will not create a chatzitza, even though when it comes to dinei nida, when a woman goes to the mikvah, lachatchila, we're makbid, that even when it's not roiv and not makbid, still we should do everything that we could to take it off, and many, many more dinim. Chavre, let's start. We left off at the end of Daf Kuf Yates Amud Beis, 4 lines before the bottom of the Amud. In the beginning of the line, Ve Amarav. Baruch atah Adino Eloheinu Malachim. Says the Gemara Vayter, we're learning about that which brought about Churban Yerushalayim. Ve Amarav Lo Yicharv Yerushalayim Elom B'Shvil Shepasku Mimenu Anshe Amonam. People of truth disappeared from it. And where do we know that? It says in Yirmiyahu, Shenemar, Shoytetu b'chutzais Yerushalayim. Why don't you search in the chutzais, in the courtyards of Yerushalayim, uru'u udu'u, and please seek and know, uvakshu b'rchoy, and seek in its streets, im tinsu ish, whether you'll find a person, im yesh oise mishpat, is there someone still doing justice? And here's the key words, mevakesh emuna, not a person who's lacking emuna in Hashem. Mevakesh emuna, someone who's seeking the truth. And if you'll find such a person, God told Yirmiyahu to tell the people, I'll forgive her. And Yerushalayim was not forgiven. There was Churban Yerushalayim by Nebuchadnezzar. Is that that there was no one that was really seeking truth? How can you say? Even during Yerushalayim's greatest downfall, there was always people that were truthful. As it says, again, we are focusing on the time right before the Churban by Yisrishaim. If a man is going to grab hold to his brother or to a distant relative, to another Yid, and by telling him, Simla means you have the garment. We'll see soon what that means too. And since you have the garment, he's going to be asked, please be a chief for us. So interrupts the Gemara explaining what does it mean that one will tell the other, oh, you have the garment. What do they mean? That items, articles that people use to cover themselves up with, like a garment is used to cover yourselves up with, that is something that you have. What does that mean? Look inside the Rashi, 5 lines from the bottom, explains Rashi, that before Koren Publisher, when one asked the other for one of the reasons of the mitzvahs. Tami ha-mitzvahs, Torah Shebal Peh. Halachas people knew, but Apsatam ha-mitzvah. So there were people that didn't know the answer, so they covered themselves up by saying, "Oh, we're not focusing on this right now. We'll address it another time." So when one will realize that his fellow does have the right answers, they do know Torah. So because of their knowledge, they're going to be asked, right? And then they add, we notice that this stumbling block is, you dominate it, it's in your hand. Stumbling block is another metaphor to someone who's knowledgeable in the Tamei HaTorah. As we turn to DAF Kuf Chaf, what does it mean? Machashela, dvarim she'ein b'nei adam oimdem aleim, ele im kei nichshalem behem, yeshtam tachas b'yadecha. Wow, matters that people don't fully get unless they had stumbled. Right, look inside the top Rashi. Ele im kei nichshalem behem, acho oimdem beis v'gimel pa'amim b'shibush, dahainu tamei ha'torah, ha'misutarim. So people, they attempt to give a reason and then they are refuted. And they give another reason and they are refuted. So people stumble until they come to the proper Tamei HaMitzvahs. So we realize that you have it. So bottom line is that they're telling people that are knowledgeable, you should be our ruler. So Yisa Bayemehu Leimar, so the pasuk is recording what that person will respond. Loi chayvish, I won't be your prisoner. Chayvish chat is one who puts the other person in jail, but that refers to the ruler. The ruler is the one that has the koyach over the other. So the person who's being told that since he has Torah knowledge, he should be the leader will respond, no, I won't be your leader. Why is that? And first of all, Ein Yisa, he's going to say, Lo chayvish. So Ein Yisa, El Lashin Shvuah, V'cheinu Omer Lo Yisisa Hashem Hashem Alekech. Lo chayvish means, what is really, he takes an oath. And what is he responding? I'm swearing to you that I was not those who locked themselves up in the Beis HaMedrash. In other words, you are telling me that I'm the learned one. I have the garment. I have that which people stumble in. I don't. I didn't put in the time. I didn't lock myself in the Beis HaMedrash. And therefore, this person is saying the emes. The person who's being asked to be a leader is responding, meaning, Mishnah, and again, the simla is the Tamei HaMitzvah, is that which people sometimes cover up if they don't know, right? So here you see that people are truthful. Fakert. So how can you say that So answers the Gemara, hold on. When someone is being told that he should be a leader because he has Torah knowledge, and he's going to admit that he does not, that's not because he's being honest, because he doesn't have it. What's his option? He'll become the leader, and then people are going to begin asking him questions, and he won't know. So it's not because he's truthful, but because he'll be discovered. If he's going to say, yeah, ich can, so then obviously teach us something. So it's not because he's honest, it's because he has no option. It's something that ultimately it will be found out. So answers the Gemara, hold on. Yet, or actually asks the Gemara, such a person could have said, I learned and I forgot. The fact that he's going to take an oath by saying that I never really learned properly, that's already emes. So all of that, in other words, that I never learned properly. So here we see that people before the Koren Publisher were truthful when it came to their Torah diligence, to their shkida, to their asmada, and therefore to their knowledge. So how can you say that there wasn't people of truth? So answers the Gemara Leikash. Indeed, kan b'divrei Torah. When it came to Torah matters, people were always truthful. But kan demasa umaton. When it came to the worldly dealings, people lost their honesty, people lost their emes. And it's gavaldik, the concept going back to the whole sugya of food and Einik Shabbos, and as we explained, the importance of connecting Kedusha, Shabbos, even down in food. Dira b'tachtoinim. In the world of Torah, for people to be honest in Torah or in davening, okay, that's great, but that's not the ultimate goal. That's being holy when you are in the heaven. The whole purpose is to bring these midos tovos all the way down to the tachtonim. So when it came to Masol Matan, if they didn't have emes deer, that's the Beis Hamikdash. The Beis Hamikdash is in godliness and a ruchnistic world that we had even after the Churban, right? The whole concept of a Beis Hamikdash is for Hashem to be down in Olam Hazeh Hagashmi. So what godliness represents, right? If they didn't bring it down in the physical world, if they were not honest, but so at that temporary time, they lost the schus of having the holy temple. Okay, let's move on, Chevra, to the new Mishnah here on DAF Kuf Chaf. Like there's a brent a fire, no pikuach nefesh. As we learned already that since people, if they will be allowed to salvage everything from their home, they will start moving very quick, they'll become bohul, and when a person is on overdrive, they might then become confused and forget that it's Shabbos and put the fire out. So simply by putting restrictions on what you could or could not save, that reminds a person to Shabbos Kodesh, and that will for sure guarantee, so to say, that the person will not put out the fire. Okay. So, Chevra, we had the last Mishnah on Daf Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Beis. Now, the Mishnah will begin to introduce a din that will appear to contradict it. What did we learn on Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Beis that led us into this whole beautiful Agadate of Oinik Shabbos, of Su'udah Shabbos? Is that you can be Matzil Mazayin, Sholish Su'udas, Gimel Su'udas. Machlokes Tanakama, Rabbi Yossi, prior eating it, Rabbi Yossi says even Shabbos afternoon, you can always save Mazayin, Sholish Su'udas, but that's a limit. Says now our Mishnah, Matzilin Sal Malaki Karos, that if you have one basket, even if that one basket has in it many loaves of bread, Lamashal, says the Mishnah Vaited, you have in this basket enough bread for 100 meals, you can save it all. Upa, my friends, hold on, didn't we just learn you can only salvage Mazin Shali Su'udah? So the Gemara is going to ask that and clarify that it doesn't contradict each other, as we'll see in the Gemara. Likewise, you can save one eagle of the Vela, right? We learned this Chavir Bava Mitzia, Ela Mitzias. They used to have these round cakes of pressed figs, and they were big, and their one cake, well, having it enough for a lot, you're saving one item, you're doing one action. One action can have in it a lot of food, it doesn't matter. Likewise, for Chavir Sholiayin, people used to have meals from drinking meals, one barrel, even though the barrel has in it a lot of wine. Very good. And now, but that's the limit. Now, Vaited, now that you reached your limit. So, Vazol Brenim, so says the Mishnah, now tell others, go save it for you. In other words, according to many Rishonim, when the other person saves it, they don't even have any limits. Because Adam Bohul al Memoinoi, that means if I'm rushing and it's my house burning, God forbid, I might put it out. But you, Reuven is not burning that Shimon's house is burning down as much as. So tell other people to save it. And they, according to many of the Shainim, can save everything that they want. Now, my friends, normally the din is hefker, right? The moment I'm the balabas, I reached my limit. I know I can't save anymore. So other people will save it. For them, it should, by the letter of the law, taka belong to them. However, says the Mishnah, but if they'll be wise, they'll tell the balabas, listen, we're not going to keep it. We're going to give it back to you. But you owe us money. You owe us money for the tircha that we had for saving. Now, how is that smart? The Gemara is going to have to explain. We das balabatim, smart is to accumulate more wealth, right? Maybe say if they're kind, what's the pikchas here that they're not keeping something that by the letter of the law is theirs? Elamah, they're charging for it. The Gemara is going to clarify it. We're going to learn about the level of a chassid. We're going to learn about a level of a Yerushalayim. It's going to be mamash gemal. Now, we kept on repeating until now, as we began on Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Beis, not like by the Kisvei Kodesh, that there the Chazal were lenient for the kavod of the Kisvei Kodesh to take it into a mavui that doesn't have a shituf, even though that midrabanan you can't carry there. That was only for Kisvei Kodesh. When it came to food, we were saying you're taking it into a place where there's no issue with carrying. Now, from a house to a yard here in America, if you live in a private home and you have a front yard, taka, there's no problem. But if you have the way people used to live then, 2 houses or more entered into one chatzir, you needed to make a Eruv Chatzeris. Did they make an Eruv Chatzeris? So we learned the Mishnah until now on Kuf Yud Zayin. Yes, they did. Now we'll see it's really a machlokes. So the Tanakh says the way we were learning, whatever it is that you can save, whatever the limits are, it's only l'chatzar ha'mi'ureves. In other words, you can't violate even a rabbinic carrying. However, Ben Beseda says, no. There's like a balance. On one hand, we don't want you to become bohol and put the fire out. On the other hand, you're losing your property. So the limited amount of that which you are allowed to save, they did make, according to Ben Beseda, a dispensation that you can carry. Of course, you can't violate an Isser Doiraisa, but they were lenient on their Rabbanans. Okay. Akula. Now the Mishnah goes weiter. When it comes, you have cups and you have jars that you can save as well. What about garments? Says the Mishnah, wear everything that you can wear. In other words, interestingly, carrying out, you may not. Not because you're going into a chatzor she'ena me'oravos. This is also the Tanakh. They also put limits on garments. How do they put a limit on garment? Not mazon shalosh su'udos. You can't carry it out, you have to wear it. But when it comes to wearing it, that alone is going to remind you, it's a Shabbos Kodesh, don't put out the fire. But when it comes to wearing it, so if you can wrap yourself in 2 or 3 or 4 garments at one time, zum gesund. However, Rabbi Yossi says, no, you may not. And according to Rashi, Rabbi Yossi argues with 2 things. First of all, he says, Shmoina, Asar, Kalim, you may only wear 18 garments. You cannot put on 2 hats, 2 shirts, 2 kapates. But as the Gemara is going to enumerate that there are 18 garments. Imagine, not the Shmoina, the Gadol of the Kohen Gadol, the Shmoina Asar Kalim that a person can wear at one time, and no garment is serving the function of the other garment. Each of these 18 have their own unique function. So there's no overlap. So that you can wear. And look inside Rashi, and Rashi adds, and Rabbi Yossi holds, you can only save 18. So it's going to be, you'll see, this type of socks, this type of legging, this type of pants, this type of shirt, this type of coat, this type of cloak, this type of sudar, that type of sudar. We're going to see all garments, again, none of them overlap. Each one has a certain function. That's the max you can save. According to Rabbi Yossi, you walk out with that, and that's it. And now the Mishnah goes back to the Tanakh. Not only does the Tanakh hold that as long as you are not carrying it, so it's going to remind you not to be bohol and to put out the fire. You can wear overlapping garments, 2 hats, 2 shirts at the same time. Not only that, but see, this again, according to Rashi, goes only l'tanakama, that you can, after you go out, you go back in and you wear again. You know, you can go in and out as long as you don't get burnt. You can continuously wear and put on as many garments as you want. And now the Mishnah concludes, once you feel like that's the limit, I can't save anymore, it's going to burn. So you can ask other people to save imi, upa. By the beginning of the Mishnah, by the food, what did the Mishnah say? Vahatzilu lochem. Because since you can't take more than that amount, it's hefker. So other people are going to be motivated. There's already shaloi lishma, go take it for you. By garments, it's not that way. They cannot take it for them. They can only come help to do you a teva. And the Gemara is going to ask, why not? Why is it over here that it's vatzilu imi? Why isn't it also? If you reach the limit, whatever the limit is, you gave up. The rest will get burned. So they should be able. Good. Okay, that Gemara is going to explain the difference. So beginning with the contradiction that we pointed out, Kuf Yud Zayin Omid Beis, the Mishnah says Mazin Gimel Su'udos. The Tanakh, Rabbi Yossi. Here the Mishnah begins. The Mishnah begins by saying, "What? Take out 100 su'udos in one basket." Answers the Gemara 2 approaches. Here, very important. Daf Kuf Chaf. All of the food is already in one basket. In other words, like we explained, since it's already in one basket, if you're taking out this basket, you're doing one single act. You're not making many efforts. It's the getting into a rush mode. When people rush, they lose their minds. This one basket has in it muslin for Meya Su'udis. Who cares? You're not rushing. Khan, meaning on Daf Kuf Yud Zayin, you have many little baskets in your house. If you're going to say, if to take all of them out, you have to be mekapel. Likapel means you bundle them. You're bunching them together. So you're carrying out many little baskets. It's not about the weight. It's about how much effort are you investing when you are carrying it out. Okay, so that's the logic, and it makes a lot of sense. So any act that doesn't demand too much effort of you is allowed to be done. You end up saving a lot, good for you. Okay. So now the Gemara explains, Bola Hatzil, that's Kuf Chaf here, is Itaka Matzah Laskula. You can save all the loaves that are in it. Well, why not? It's already in the same one basket. But Bola Kapel, if you're coming to bunch together, if you're coming to bundle together, so then the Mishnah gave you only Mazain for 3 Su'udis. That's one approach. Other approaches, Rab Abba, Bar Zavdo, Amadaf, Idi, Bola Kapel, even over here, Bola Kapel. Eloma, Bola Kashe, Kan, Daf Kuf Chaf, Lois Chatzer. We're speaking about, my friends, there is an Eruv between my front yard and the next yard. No issue with Eruv here. According to the Tanach, it's only Lechatzer Me'or Eves. Question is, to where am I taking the food? Again, it makes sense. If I'm bringing it out only to my yard, which is over here, that means it doesn't take me that much time. I can take it out, I can go back in, I can take out more, right? And I'm not using up the time when the fire is burning, then I can take out Muslim of 100 Su'udis. Kan, meaning a Daf Kuf Yud Zayin, since you are putting it in L'Chatzer Acheres, which means it involves more time. Again, more time means by the time I get to my neighbor's Chatzir, I don't want to put it in my Chatzir because I have a very little Chatzir and I don't want it to get burnt in my Chatzir. So again, the moment I'm going further, which demands of me working quicker, the Chazal said, oh, hold on, you have to limit it. Because again, this concept that once you get into rush mode, you don't benefit, you lose. You'll end up getting confused, and God forbid, you'll end up violating Kibui. Says the Gemara, Boy Rafuna Bereid Rabbi Yeshua. This is such a Mordechay inquiry. Mordechay inquiry. We explained the Gemara according to the first answer properly. Whenever it's one single act, little effort, you can save more. If you have to make more effort, you have to save less. That is the logic. However, once Chazal made a Gzeira, and they said that if you are carrying something out of your house in one basket, I don't care how much food is in that basket, even if there's a lot of food in that one basket, you can do it. I'm going to give you a case where the reason will still be l'chayra to be machmer. But the bottom line is that when you carry it out of the house, you're only carrying out one keli, maybe it should be mutter. And what's the case? What happens if you go into your burning house and Felice, it's just one example, you spread out your talis, you open up one big box, and the kipul v'hiniach, you gather in your house a little basket, you don't bundle the baskets together. You empty the food from the little basket in your talis. You chop another little basket and you empty it out in your talis. The kipul v'hiniach. In your house, you're making a lot of effort. In your house, you're making, and it takes up time. But when you are walking out of your house, you're walking out of your house with one talis that has in it a lot of food. Do we say that kibbala hatzel dami? Bottom line is that once Chazal said that when you walk out of the house with one sal, I don't care if that one sal has in it 100 loaves. So this is like that case, and it should be mutter. Or no. Why were they lenient here? Because it's already, you don't have to do any effort in the house. You're not wasting time. It's already in the one sal. Here, you are putting it together in this one sal in your house. That's the way we learn Pshat in the Gemara. And therefore, you're making the same effort. And therefore, it should be asir. And this is so relevant. People don't chap, right? B'chal, we have a hard time understanding that sometimes Chazal make a gzeira. B'chal, the reason for the gzeira doesn't seem to apply today. We b'chal don't care. I know there are exceptions, but there are very few. Normally is, whatever the reasons are, once they made the gzeira, this now is the rule. And it goes both ways. It goes l'chumra. Even if you can argue, I can't swim in a lake, I'm going to make a raft. I don't even know how to make a raft. No, once Chazal said you can't, you can't. And mitzad sheni, even if there was another case that you can argue, the same reason should apply there, could be, but they didn't make it on that case. They didn't speak about that case. Focus on the case that Chazal made and don't expand it. That is more relevant than people can imagine. So that's the kasha. So the Gemara answers the following. That means the Amar Rabba. Rabba made a very strong, radical statement that there was a time that Ata'e Rav Shizvi le Rav Chizda. Rav Shizvi expounded darshan something in front of Rav Chizda. He expounded it wrong, even though Rav Chizda accepted it from him. But Rabba chapped that was a mistake. What are we talking about? What we're talking about is like this. We learned just above that if a person also on Shabbos, this is not a fire, but this is a barrel of wine that you have on your roof and it cracked open and the wine is getting lost. So Chazal made a takana that you cannot save all of it. How would you save it? You would save it by bringing other kalim and putting it under the stream and filling up, capturing as much wine as you could. So we learned in a Braisa, bring one keli. Remember that Gezeda, that's not about putting out the fire, that's maybe you're going to carry kalim in a shusarab. That was the reason for that. So what did they say? He said, Rav Shizvi said, that even that one keli is also limited. It can only have a certain amount of wine. And if you bring a very large keli, you can't even use it. That is what Rav Shizvi told Rav Chizda. Rav Chizda accepted it. Rabbi says that was a mistake. That was a mistake, meaning, what is Rabbi really saying? That the one keli can be as big as you want. So, Shma Mina, since we are accepting Rabbi, that when you come to save wine, there is no limit. Here also, Kivala Hatzel Dami. Here also, as long as when you are walking out of your house, you're walking out with one talis, you are allowed to walk out with it. Even though all of the Achreinim, the Marsha asks, how can you compare one case to the other? At the end of the day, there you're only using one keli. What's the chashash you're going to go carry? Truth is, there's a little bit of a chashash, because if my keli in my house is little, and indeed Rav is right, not like Rav Shizvi, I can use one keli, but it can be a humongous keli. If my keli is as big as the barrel, I can save all of my wine. What happens if I don't have that in my house? Maybe I'm going to go to my neighbor and take his keli. We don't say that. They allowed you to use one keli, you can always use one keli. Here in our Mishnah, they allow you to run out with one basket. I can run out with one talis, even though really in my house, I put stuff in the basket. Okay. Now, by the way, how do we know that Rav Shizvi was wrong? Maybe he was right. Even though the Braisa doesn't explicitly put a limit to the size, how do we know that Rav is right? How did you know that? So Amalei, no, Pasha, look in the Braisa. Since the Tani Yavi Clay Achad V'Yilkot. Remember that? Don't bring another keli. So here's the stream, here's my bucket. So it says when this is filling up, don't bring another keli and put it above it to chap the wine when it's still in the air. And it's also asad keli achad v'tztarev. Don't bring another keli and put it right when it goes off the roof. You can stand on the roof and you can put a keli right over the ledge, right under the stream. You can't do that. So the Braisa is emphasizing on the nuts, on the vasmatar nisht. And what does it emphasize? One nekuda. Don't bring more than one keli, which means that's how Rava says keli achad udaloi avol ba'umada kama deboy matzil. So this concept of once they allowed you one keli kama deboy matzil. So indeed, we are concluding that a person in the fire, again, all of this is, you're going to remember not to put out the fire. The fact that I have baskets, the fire is burning, think about the psychology. I can't grab all of them and run out. Oh, I know I can't do that. If I do that, I can only save mazin shalish sudas. I have to put it in my big talis. Any action that I'm doing that is of a restriction is going to stand as a continuous reminder that today is Shabbos, and therefore I know a Shabbos you can't do kibui. I'm not going to get into this confused state because of a rush. Beautiful. Okay, Eagle shall devela, right? And ultimately the Mishnah said that I can ask other people to save for them, hatzilu lachem, because I reached my limit. And then the Mishnah says that if im hayu pikhin, right, they can ask they can ask, Oisen imay cheshbin acher Shabbos. Asks the Gemara, cheshbin mayavidite. That's smart. Cheshbon here means that they can say, listen, even though I'm giving you back, it's your food, but pay us for the time that we invested for schlepping it out. Give us some schar. Why would they only ask for a schar? By the letter of the law, me'ef kedo kazachu. That's the nature. Once I know, I'm observant, the Chazal don't allow me to save anymore, so everything in my house is going to get burnt, it automatically becomes hefker. So what's for a cheshbon is machnada? So Amar Rab Chizda, yeah, you're right. By the letter of the law, they get to keep it. But Midas Chasidu Shalom Khan. Here, the Mishnah is inspiring us, suggesting that we should behave like a chassid, meaning to go beyond the letter of the law. Knows when someone is mafker something willingly, if I willingly was mafker something, no one says, Al Midas Chasidus, that if you take it, give it back to me. Why? But don't forget, here I was forced to be mafker it. So that's a hefker. So give it back. So asks Rava, oh, yeah? If we're dealing with a chassid, so chasidei agra de shapsa shaklei. Will a chassid take schar Shabbos? So now we are introducing schar Shabbos. It's very important. Look inside the Rashi in the narrow lines, around 9-10 lines before the bottom of the narrow lines. Chasidei agra de shapsa shaklei. Get me up. Im chasidim heim yesh lahem levater mishalahem b'chol davar. They should not take the reward for their schlepping on Shabbos because it has a nidnud avera. So Rashi sheds gewaltic light on schar Shabbos. Inside, the lav schar Shabbos gamaru. It's really not by the letter of the law schar Shabbos. Sharei loy hisna. In other words, schar Shabbos means if prior to Shabbos I stipulate, I tell you, you want me to do something for you on Shabbos? I'm going to work for you for Shabbos. This, that. I want you to pay me kach v'kach money. That's called schar Shabbos. My friends, that's something that may not be taken. Now, I want to give you one heter that everyone uses today. Let's speak about a maid or a cleaning lady or a shiksa, however you'll refer to her. If someone comes to your house to work, even though you stipulated, let's say today you're paying them $12 an hour, whatever you pay them per hour, and it's stipulated prior, if they only come to you for this Shabbos and they work 5 hours, you can't pay them. It's schar Shabbos. And first of all, you may not pay them. And if that person is a Yid, then that person cannot take the money. You can't take schar Shabbos. What you do in Al Pi Halach is you do havlaah. That person didn't only work for you on Shabbos. They also did some work for you during the week. So you swallow the schar Shabbos with the schar of the week together. How many hours total did you work this week? You work total 20 hours, even though some of those hours are from Shabbos, and it doesn't have to be a Reiv weekday. As long as it includes also time for the week, that's one heter that people go to. But coming back over here, you're asking your chavedim a one-time thing, come save. So they're going to be chasidim, they're going to give it back to you. Because Midas Chasidus, it wasn't a real hefker. But they can charge schar Shabbos, hold on. Even though by the letter of the law it's not schar Shabbos, because you never told them before Shabbos, come do this for me. And anything that was not stipulated prior is taka not schar Shabbos. But we're speaking about Chasidim. Chasidim wouldn't even take this level of schar Shabbos. Says the Gemara Elamar Rava that our Mishnah is not speaking about a Chasid. Our Mishnah is speaking about someone on the lower level of a Chasid. A Yireh Shamayim. Not a Chasid. He's not going to not take this type of schar, but he's a Yireh Shamayim not to take from this type of hefker. Yireh Shamayim here is a level lower than a chassid. God forbid to think that a chassid is nishkan Yireh Shamayim.
So he's not l'fnim mishuras adin. He's just a Yireh Shamayim.
Yeah, he's a Yireh Shamayim. In other words, Yireh Shamayim is someone interesting that hefker he would not. This type of hefker he wouldn't take. It's the worst. A guy was forced to be mafker. Makes sense.
Rabbi, where's the havla over here though?
No, there's no havla here. I give havla tzvika just to know for us. Here the heter will be that since you did not make a tanai before Shabbos, because if I didn't stipulate you before Shabbos, if on Shabbos I tell you, please do something for me, and I never said how much I'm going to charge, we never made up an amount. And then after Shabbos, you come to me and say, listen, I worked for you 4 hours, that's okay. That's okay. And you're called noch ha-pikeach. Pikeach is because you know Hilchas Shabbos well. You're smart by knowing that since it wasn't stipulated prior to the work, the agra, the schad, you are allowed to take it. So good. Now you know the meaning by us. You should be a chassid, yirei shamayim v'lamdin. Clearly, you see it's different categories. Yesh bozeh masha'im bozeh. But in this context, we're learning about something that a chassid has beyond the yirei shamayim. A chassid would not take even this type of tzcharag, like Rashi says. A chassid wouldn't do anything sheyesh boy nidnud aveira. A yirei shamayim is not on that level. But and Pikchim means he knows Hilchas Shabbos. The Bahai Gadol Lachar Shabbos who and I see my Cheshbon Lachar Shabbos. Let's go weiter. Ulhechal Matzilan, and the ultimately the Mishnah says by the clothing. Boyu Ba'atzilui Imi. Why by the food lachem? Why by the garments imi? Maishnacha diktani lachem. Maishnacha diktani imi. Answers the Gemara. Amri, they said the following: that gabim is zoynois. You say lachem. Why? Bishum the like a chazu elamazin gimel suudais. Since the owner has a limit, 3 meals, 3 baskets. Once you reach the limit, you can never save more. So it's taka hefket. It's a forced hefket, but it's hefket. So by the letter of the law, whoever comes and takes it can keep it. But by labushim, since the Tanakama, not Rabbi Yossi, the Tanakama holds that you can wrap yourself, as long as you wear them, you can put on many garments at the same time. You can come back and save again. That means theoretically, even though maybe this fire is burning too quick, but theoretically, from the Chazal standpoint, there is no limit that some garments have to get burnt. So therefore, there's less hefker. So therefore, other people cannot keep it. Theoretically, right? You can go the whole day, come and go, put on, take out, put on, take out. Right? We learned, again, Rashi learns that that's takanat Rabbi Yossi. Here we see this clearly. Guys, this is a small fire. But okay, so be it. But however, these are the words of Rav Meir. Rabbi Yossi Omer. Number one, like we said in the Mishnah, you can't wear 2 garments that serve the same function at the same time. Number 2, you can't go and come and go and come. One time, wear the max that you could. And what is the max? Shmoina asar kelim. And you can go out and that's it. According to this, my friends, according to Rabbi Yossi, after you carried your 18, if you ask another yid to help you, they can also keep it, according to Rabbi Yossi, because you reached your limit. Now the Gemara says, this is the outermost cloak. Unkali is the coat underneath it, the normal outer coat. Upunda and the belt that goes on it. The kalbus is as a vest, made out of pishtan. And the chaluk, and then you have the shirt, the tunic that goes under the vest. Then you have the apilios, a robe. All this goes together. Umafaides, and you have the kerchief that is used to wrap around your head, that goes under the hat. Ushnei sefarkin, 2 leg bands, they cover your upper legs. Ushnei min olam, you have 2 shoes. Ushnei anpolios, 2 socks. Ushtei pargoid are the leg coverings that go from your knee until your feet. The chagoy shebamostov, and then the belt that goes on your tunic. The koveya of your roish that goes under the suder, and then there was another suder. The suder shebetzavori. Then there was another scarf. Yeah, another scarf. What was that other scarf in shebetzavori? Look inside Rashi 2 months before the bottom of the Amid. The tuluyin roish of lofanav. There was a scarf that had 2 ends hanging. And that was used like a bib. We learned about bibs before. To have a psashmata near you, because all of these 18 garments, since none of them serve the exact same function, even though, yeah, you can argue one is under the hat, one is over the hat, one is on the hat, one doesn't matter. Each one is a different type of beged, and even Ladas Rabbi Yossi, the Mahmoud, you can wear them at the same time. Let's go on weiter. Okay. Now that we dealt with saving your stuff, what about doing an act that will eventually help the fire go out? Now there's a nuance here. There's doing something indirectly that will stop the fire from continuing. And then there's something even more, doing an act now that indirectly will put the fire out. Neither of them are direct, but let's see which one of these 2 are permitted. Says the Mishnah, Rab Shimon ben Nanes Omer, that what? That person or shel gedi, you can take, for example, a hide from a gedi, and all of the commentators here try to work out why it's not muksa, but we're speaking about a hide that's not muksa, and you can put it, you can be pairas it, you can cover al gabe shida teva umigdal, on top of a very large keli, even on that keli, one end of it is already burning, but you can put it not on the fire. You put that on the fire, you're going to put out the fire. Put it on the other end. Why are you allowed to put it on the other end? Because since the hide itself doesn't burn properly, maybe the hairs will get singed. In other words, the hide doesn't burn, and therefore what? So the havamina is the havamina, and therefore it's going to prevent the fire from spreading there. Aleph, it's indirect. You're not putting it on the fire. Beis, according to the havamina, even when the fire reaches the hide doesn't put it out. The hide doesn't let the fire spread. That for sure is okay. We're going to learn later in the Maskana that according to this Tana, you can do even more. You can do something indirectly, even if then when the fire reaches it, it will actually put it out. That's a bigger chiddush. Okay, let's go back to it. Now, let's say there's a fire on one side of the house. You can make a mechitza, make a partition using kalim. Now, kalim that are empty, simply again, they stop the fire from passing. Kalim that are full, if those kalim crack, let's say they're filled with water, then the water will mamash put out the fire. So the Tanakama says you can fill whether even when they're malayim. Why are you putting it there? Because you don't want the fire to pass. So the Tanakama seems to be more lenient. You can even put full kalim, even though again when the fire reaches there, they might put the fire out. We'll see more details in the Gemara. Any new earthenware utensil is not that hard. And since it's not hard yet, because it's brand new, when fires get to that keli, it's very likely that it's going to crack. If they're going to be filled with water, when it cracks, then the water will put out the fire. And therefore, so Rabbi Yossi seems to is arguing with the Tanakama. Rabbi Yossi says, listen, to do something now that later when the fire reaches there, it's going to stop the fire from spreading. That I agree you are allowed to do. You're doing something indirect, and it's not even then going to put it out. It's going to prevent it from spreading. But doing an act now that eventually will actually put the fire out, gram, kibui, because when the fire gets to those kalim, they will crack and the water will spill and the water will put it out. That's something that Rabbi Yossi says you are not allowed to do. The Tanakama holds that even gram kibui, since it's not directly, is allowed to be done. The kalim can be filled with water and they can be new kalim. And you know they're going to crack. It doesn't matter. You're not throwing water on it. It's indirect and therefore it's allowed. Good. Says the Gemara like this. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Same concept.
Rabbi, what about spilling water directly on next to the fire, on furniture, on begodim?
So Shlomo was asking what we're learning right now. Once we're getting into gram kibui, what happens if you have a talus? The talus is dry. You're not putting water on the fire, but can you pour water on the other end of the talus? Shlomo, the Gemara right now. That's your case. Right, talus sha'achas boy ha'ur mitzad echad. Says Rav Yehuda, noisnin aleha mayim mitzad achar. You are allowed to put water on that keli. Again, it's indirect, same concept. You're not putting fire on it. And the imkafsa kafsa. No, as long as it is indirect, gram, goyrim, not direct, even if it's kibui, extinguishing, it's mutter. Now, the Mishnah didn't give that case, right? The Mishnah spoke about more indirect, so different levels in indirect. But in the Mishnah, you have waters and kalim, the fire is going to burn the keli, it's going to crack the keli. So Meisvei says in a braisa, so here the braisa says like following, another type of concept. When you have a talus that's folded, and let's say the fire is here, you can see the illustration, then it's going to easily burn the other half. If you open it up, then it's possible at least that the fire doesn't have what to chop on right underneath it, that as it spreads, it might get weaker. That is what's allowed. That is what's allowed. That poishta umiskasabo. You can unfold it, you can cover it. All of these things are activities that up the likelihood that the fire will go out. But my friends, this is much less than putting water on the other end. Likewise, by God forbid fire. Again, if it's all wrapped up, the whole thing is going to burn. If you open it up, then maybe the fire won't spread. Now you can't stop open it up. You have to read from it. Then cover. So what do we infer from this brisa? That's okay. Limiting spread is okay. Here we're speaking about putting it out. That's Akasha, right, against Rabbi Yehuda Marav. Turning to the Kufchaf Gewaltet Slate, answers the Gemara, who, 1 second, Eina Chanami, that was the Machlokes in our Mishnah. Yeah. Who the Amar Kerab Shimon is. The brisa that you quoted goes like Rabbi Yossi, that extinguishing may never be done. You can do an activity that might stop the spread. But we, Rabbi Yehuda Marav Paskin like Shimon is, even though the Mishnah didn't give it this case, but he says it's the same thing. Oh, says the Gemara, hold on. We're going to focus on the first case in the Mishnah, putting the hide on the other end of the box. The Havamina is because since the hide only singes, since the hide doesn't burn, it doesn't allow for the fire to pass. But Gram Kibimi Omar, says the Gemara, no, you're not understanding Pshat in Rabbi Shimon ben Ana. Since it says in the Sefer Rabbi Yossi, is the Charaya that the Tanakama does allow. Who's the Tanakama? Rabbi Shimon ben Ana. He allows you putting kalim filled with mayim. Learn the Pshat of hide. The hide itself is viewed as it's putting it out. So Bekitzer, it's a machlokes tanoim, and Rav has a paskins like Rabbi Shimon ben Ana, but Shlomo, you're right. He's adding even a greater case. Like he can pour water on the floor. But says the Gemara Tanach Rabbanan, Me'ingin le'ingin, Neir shal gabe tabla. You have a board and you have a lamp that's on it. And my friends, a lamp now is muktzah. That's the issue. Oh, fellas, you can indirectly get rid of the lamp, and then you can move the board. The board is a buses. The Gemara is going to ask that in a moment. The point here is we're speaking about doing something indirectly. The imkafsa kafsa, and obviously, like all of the Rishonim say, we're speaking about a scenario where there is no psikresha. If I have a candle and I'm pulling it off, by me the fire will go out. But if you if you can do it in a way indirect, that the fire, that the candle, it can be oil, that for sure will go out. It's a wax candle. That it's not, if it's not a psikresha, it's indirect kiboy is okay. Or not, and he's going straight to the answer. He's saying that, hold on, whenever Shabbos comes in, if I have a tray, have a table that is in support of muktzah, since it was a buses by Ben Hashmashas, even when you remove the muktzah, it's still muktzah for the whole Shabbos. So how does that even help? So he gives the nuance. When do we say that if something is a buses Ben Hashmashas to muktzah, it remains muktzah for the whole Shabbos? That's only if one purposefully put your lighters on your table, which is what we do. So then the table remains a buses. You put it on the tray remains a buses. If a person forgot the muktzah on a tray, they didn't do it mindfully, then we don't say this rule. This case must be that you were shecheach. You forgot the neir on this board. Indeed, since nasas buses, ben hashmashas, then even if you took it off, you won't resolve the problem of still that board is muktzah. Says the Martani we learned in a brisa. Again, we're speaking about gram kiboy. You have a candle behind your door. How real is this? Can you open up your door? Says the brisa, your kavana is to open up the door. You're not planning to put out the candle. You open the door, come in, go out. And the im kafsa. Okay. Brisa, Tana, when Rav heard that, Layit Allah. Layit means a curse. It's stark. He was very much against that. Don't tell me pshat wrong, which is that Rav holds like Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, so Rabbi Yehuda, it's asur midrabanan. Rabbi Shimon, it's mutter. So don't explain to me that Rav was loyate because it goes like Rabbi Yehuda. The Tana that allows you to do it goes like Rabbi Shimon. That's not pshat. You know what? If that would have been the machlokes, Rav would not curse. Loyate, don't say curse, say condemned. But it's a very strong word. Okay, you can paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, but you can't be loyate on someone who follows Rabbi Shimon. Mishum the Rav, someone like Rabbi Yehuda, called the Tanach Rabbi Shimon meilat loyate lay. So that's not the reason. It must be that Rav felt that lokula al mitzasir. Why taka? Because of psikresha. Amalei, indeed. Now, guys, this is moidic. So hold on. If it's a psikresha, so how can the Tana allow it? And my friends, this is something that I always experience by psikresha. This is really a machlokes psikresha. Think about this case. I don't know how to put percent. Let me go 99%. You open up your door. 99% the wind is going to blow out the candle. Rav says that's psikresha. That's psikresha. The Tana says, no, psikresha is cutting off the head of the chicken. Not 99%, 100%. This is an amazing machlokes. It's a machlokes. If something is almost for sure going to happen, right? You have a package and you want to open it up. You don't want to rip the letters. So you have to be medagdek. You know, you're being mekalkel the package. We're not speaking about ripping. That's skillful. We're speaking about erasing a word, right? Oh, so I can argue, well, I don't have to be medagdek because since it's possible that the rip will go in between the letters, I'm not going to rip the letter. I don't have to look out for that. It's not psikresha. Can you say that? That's really the machlokes here. Or do you say no? If you're not, it's probably you're gonna rip through the letters. It's called psikresha. I don't care that's not your kavanah. You gotta make the effort. That's amazing. That's the machlokes here between the Tana and Rav. Let's go weiter. It's getting late. Amar Rav Yehuda. Similar. We're going from kibui to making a fire bigger. You have a fire pit. We all know, my friends, not all of us, those of us who attempted once to make a barbecue, one of the ingredients you need is wind, ruach. So can you open up a door? You have a fire pit. The fire is calm burning. If you open up the door, not to make the fire bigger, you want to leave your house. You want to enter your house. But when the wind is going to feed the fire. So it says, Rabbi Yehuda be'emshech, he's not, guys, he's not quoting Rav, but Mistama, I think he extrapolated it from the other din that he quoted b'shem Rav. Rabbi Yehuda paskin lokula, and here not Rav, but loyit Allah Abaye. Abaye condemned this. Now the Gemara wants to clarify where is their argument. Right? My Tamadamanda Asa. We're speaking about a ruach mitsuya will not accelerate the burning. That's the pshat here. If there's only a ruach mitsuya, then it's taka should not be a problem. It won't even make the fire burn. Or open up your door. It's not going to make the fire burn. Now you know who's the blast wind. So you know when you open your door, it's going to accelerate the fire. Then how can Rabbi Yehuda say it's okay? My Tamadamanda Shari. So the Gemara says la'olam it's beruach mitsuya. And the reason why Abaye was so upset is because he felt you have to make a loy plug. You have to make exera. Mar Savad, Abaye holds gazrinon. If you allow a person not to care about it, then even when there's going to be a ruach she'ena mitzvah, you will open the door, and then it's psikresha. Umar Savad, loy gazrinon. Bechlal api chasidus, the neshama is on fire. Hello. And what we need to have a ruach. That's what Chasidus is here to bring in a ruach, and as a brednish, you have to bring a ruach she'ena mitzvah. Ruach she'ena mitzvah, for sure. A gutta fabrengen is gonna up the fire as it should be. Let's go weiter. Oisen mechitza, the machlokes in the Mishnah again, whether gram kibui, right? Tanach holds that you could even do gram kibui. That's Rav Shimon ben Anas. Rabbi Yossi holds no. You can cause the fire to be not to spread. But even indirectly to put the fire out, Rabbi Yossi holds you may not do that. Indeed, the Rabbanan Sabri Gram Kibui Mutter, and Rabbi Yossi is the one that holds Gram Kibui Yasur Upa. I got a contradiction. Now it's not a real contradiction, but it's a contradiction. The Tanya, either use empty vessels or vessels, even if they're filled with water, but they're not going to break. The Elu Milayim of the Elu Milayim Shein Darkan Lishtaber, and now the Braisa goes to enumerate what raw material are you certain will not break? Clay matrais, metal, that can be used. Rabbi Yossi is going to be the lenient one here. Rabbi Yossi Omer af clay kfar shichen, even if it's a clay earthenware, but if it comes from kfar shichen, if it comes from kfar chananya, ein darkan lishtaber. Now hold on, it's not a real stira because clearly Rabbi Yossi is not allowing gram kibui. The stira is that it sounds like Rabbi Yossi is more lenient than the Chachamim. He's allowing for more kelim to be used. That's the question here. That's the ibcha. In other words, is Rabbi Yossi make or Rabbi Yossi is machmer? And if you're going to say, okay, change it in our Mishnah, that no, and the Rabbi Yossi, and therefore, in other words, Rabbi Yossi is the lenient one. If Rabbi Yossi is lenient, then according to Rabbi Yossi, you don't even need to have those earthenware from Kfar Shichen. You can have any earthenware. And a Hanami. Rabbi Yossi is saying, Rabbi Yossi that even according to you, that you can't do gram kiboy, don't limit it to clay matchais. You can use those great earthenware utensils. Says the Gemara, that for sure not. Me matzis afchetla. V'ha'amar Rabba bar Tachlifa in the name of Rav, man tana gram kiboy also clearly. That is the shita of Rabbi Yossi is the machmer. Okay, so says the Gemara, lo'olam takaloy. And this B'rai says all Rabbi Yossi. No, it's not a real stira. You're asking Rabbi Yossi is linear. The whole B'rai says Rabbi Yossi. The Chasuri Vesra Bachiktani, Bechitza became Umrikarim Umalayim Shandakam Lishtaber. Rabbi Yossi, who holds that gram kibu is asur, you can only make a mechitza either with empty kalim or with kalim that won't break. And the Elohim Kalim Shandakam Lishtaber, not only clay matchais, but even clay kfar shichen or clay kfar chananya nami ein darkam lishtaber. And why? If Rabbi Yossi Omer af clay kfar shichen and clay kfar chananya ein darkam lishtaber. So where are we up to? And it's late. I know we're still behind, but that's the machlokes. Chachamim are lenient. Gram kibui chachamim mutar. And Rabbi Yossi, even though Shimon ben Anas, but we paskin like him, so we call him the Chacham. Rabbi Yossi holds that gram kibui is usher. At least a heads up. I wish I got a little bit further. If a person has a shame on his body written, a Chacham, he wrote God's name, and he has to go to the mikvah. So here we're going to compare it to the case above. If you go to the mikvah, the waters of the mikvah, right, not directly, will cause it to get erased. And whether you have to cover it or not, l'choura, Rabbi Yossi will say you have to cover it, because he says gram kiboy is asur, and the Chachamim will say you can go to the mikvah without covering it. And now we're going to learn a whole brayso, God willing, tomorrow. We're going to learn a little bit quicker that it was mamish the opposite, that Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold you have to cover it. And the Chachamim are the ones that you do have to cover it, and how do we reconcile that, God willing, to be continued? Very geschmack. What's a big DAF?
Rabbi, just quickly, can you clarify with Rabbi Yehuda when he does allow to open up the door?
Oh.
The whole Indian of psik reisha doesn't apply to Rabbi Yehuda, or does it?
No psik reisha. In other words, the Gemara is going with the premise that when there's a normal ruach will not make the fire go bigger. And Abaya felt that since sometimes there's a ruach she'ena matsuya, Rabbi, in other words, in Abaya's homes, there was the location of the fire pit was not stam hefker. Abaya held that you have to make sure like that you have the fire pit in a position that even when there is a ruach she'ena matsuya, when you open the door, the wind won't go there. And Rabbi Yehuda held no such a thing. Rabbi Yehuda, if the wind now is very strong, so wait 2 minutes, don't go out. But as long as it's a ruach matsuya, then you don't have to be mindful of it. All right.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.